know who Jonah Hill is?
Huh?
Do you know who Jonah Hill is?
Yeah, the actor, the little fat kid.
Yeah. How about this for a joke?
He's a friend of Tatum O'Neal.
Good God, you're down. Channing.
Jonah Hill says his heart is broken over the fact he was caught on camera calling a photographer a gay slur. And speaking of things that are broken, Jonah Hill's chair. A nice statement.
Yeah, it's more of a comment.
Imagine if you're with the porno lady, you're like, what about this? You like this? And she's like, yeah, my husband invented it. You're like, oh. Because you know how you think you got your own moves?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Have you ever been with a porn star?
No, I never would do it because I wouldn't want to pull out my measly...
wiener?
Yeah. Because like, what's she going to pretend? She's like, oh, ouch. You're like, what? What about that thing I saw you in last week with that?
Is this a good surprise for you guys or a weird surprise to Norm?
I'm such a big fan of Norm's, man.
It's the first time you guys have met this morning, right?
Yeah. So
Jonah,
I'm so psyched. That's awesome.
When I knew you were coming in, I started thinking of the serious stuff, and I got to tell you about one thing. Superbad.
Yeah.
I'm 48 years old.
Yeah.
I go see Superbad, and the characters, your character and the other character, the main characters, are an amalgam of me and my best friend when we were in high school.
I hear that quite often.
I call the guy, and I go, you got to come to Austin. So he comes to Austin, and we go see it together and just laugh our asses off because of that was us. That was us in high school.
Oh, that's
that
so
whole
nice.
thing. So huge fan on that front. Now,
you look good for 48, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
You got a guy who looks like Bruce Springsteen. You got a guy who looks like he's 25 and he's 48.
How old do you think he is?
Good-looking bunch around here.
How old do you think he is?
Good-looking city.
How old do you think Bob is?
I would say 34.
Try 53.
Yeah, well, that's how old Bruce Springsteen is.
No, he's 60.
Yeah, he's 60. Why'd you pick 30?
Damn.
No, I'm darkness on the edge of town.
It's like he looks like Wilford Brimley. How old? 20? 20-year-old Wilford Brimley?
4 or 5 years old?
You go way too much. What are you, one?
1 years old.
Now, Bob saw the movie last night.
Thank you for that compliment. I sincerely
Man, I'm telling you
appreciate
what, that movie. And I said, that's like, I don't buy, you rent movies. You don't buy. That's the one movie I've saved, and I watch it over and over.
That's cool, man. Thank you.
Bob saw the movie last night,
man.
and
I loved it.
And before you come in here,
you saw Get Him to the Greek last night.
Yeah, we would lie to you if it was.
I wouldn't have come. I would have called in sick today if it.
Well, no. We would have told our listeners what we thought of it, like the first hour when you guys weren't up.
And then we wouldn't have known.
We would have lied and kissed your ass when you came in here. But he said
I don't want to give anything away about it either, because there's so many surprises in that movie.
Off the air this morning, I said, seriously, how was the movie? And I've seen the trailer. The trailer's hilarious. And he goes, but a lot of times the trailer's hilarious, the movie sucks ass.
Right.
He goes,
I think our movie's better than our trailer.
He goes, dude,
I hate.
It was laugh out loud funny.
I hate people that you compare movies, say it's like this, it's like, but it's like, it's all the best stuff you would expect from a Jonah Hill movie with a little bit of Spinal Tap mixed in, and it reminded me a little bit of Almost Famous, the sweetness, the sweet parts of that, because you play a character that's like
Nick literally pitched it to me as like a dirty Almost Famous.
You're teetering. you're one of those characters teetering on boyhood and manhood, right?
Yeah.
Like responsibilities versus being this kind of rock. Fan, and I loved it on that level too, of just of your character, of just being this guy that just doesn't know he wants to commit. He doesn't. He's facing all these things for the first time, but it's hysterical. You're going to see things in this movie that you've never seen on film before. I got to look at the rock star.
Dagwood?
No, the rock star. Aldous. Yeah, there's really not an equivalent in real life.
Sounds good, though. Is it in the theater?
There's really no single British.
I wouldn't have had a chance.
There's not really any single solo British rock stars like that anymore. Are there? Is he
the closest
Bowie? But Bowie's old.
I'd say like Jack White.
Oh yeah, Jack White. I mean, the closest we were thinking was but he's not like a bad boy, but like Chris Martin. Was kind of the closest equivalent,
But none of them behave like that. No, like in behavior, it's more just.
But it's more like taking a '70s, '60s rock star and putting him kind of in.
Pete Doherty. That's who it is. I mean, that's really who we and he's mega famous in England, obviously, and less so here.
So Nick, I'm IMDbing you, which is not a sexual term anymore, but you directed one of my favorite television shows that didn't make it, Undeclared.
I was a writer on that.
Still.
Yeah.
What a great show. Were you on that show?
Was not, but a big fan of it.
Yeah, it was like a great. You knew it wasn't going to last because it was too good.
Well, we knew because we premiered on September 11th. So that's how we knew it wasn't going to last. That was actually.
I didn't know that, really.
And Dale, you got to see that everybody's great in this film, but Sean Combs.
Dude, he steals it.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
he blows up in this movie.
He's so funny in it.
Unbelievable. And what we had you were doing the Q&A while the credits were. You started the Q&A while the credits were rolling. I know his face popped up at the end of the movie, and I missed it. Now I gotta go back and see what he said at the end.
I'm gonna go
It's
see it this
a
week.
teaser for the Avengers.
Oh, okay.
For Thor.
Dude, you would love it.
Wait, so how old was Nick when he was directing Freaks and Geeks and Undeclared?
Or was
How
writing
old were
for
you
it.
when you were writing for Undeclared?
For Undeclared, I was.
Well, Freaks and Geeks was first, right?
I know I didn't work on Freaks and Geeks.
Oh,
You were still in
they told
college.
me you
Yeah, I was
directed.
still in
We withdraw the
So
question.
how were you when you directed?
I was 24 when I was writing on.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So the story.
Like, remember when you were 24, what you thought was funny or good? You know what I mean? How hard it is to actually do good stuff when you're 24.
I remember
think?
Judd telling me what was funny. And
I
good.
thought
He would just tell you and you do it?
Norm, I thought you were
That's
funny
what
when I
it
was
worked in.
24.
Oh, no, you might think something's funny, but what you, like, I remember when I was starting comedy, I was like 25 or something like that. But Eddie Murphy was already a star, you know, and he was 19.
Yeah, 19.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I was like, how can that guy be funny? Because I remember what I thought was funny when I was 19. It was all lame. Anyway.
On Undeclared, one of the writers was Seth Rogen. He was
Yeah,
also
yeah.
obviously one of the stars of Undeclared, but he was 18. I remember him coming into the first writers meeting, and all of us being like, we obviously liked him on Freaks and Geeks, but he just being like, who does this kid think he is? And then
Yeah.
he would just turn in the funniest scripts.
So,
He
Jonah,
just like
you-
knew it
you-
and nailed it.
You were
Wait,
right.
wasn't Byron Allen on that show too, though? Oh, no, that's a different one.
You were right. You were right.
Wait, have you guys seen
It was like
Comics
your show on
Unleashed?
shows.
Have you seen
shows,
Comics Unleashed with Byron Allen? Hey, speaking of this thing, Byron Allen does this thing. You know how you guys do junkets, which is part of what you're kind of doing now?
Yeah.
But Byron Allen does this show where all he does is go on junkets. He goes to hotels, you know, and he interviews guys like everybody else does at the junkets, you know, because they bring the stars, like they bring Jonah and Nick in, and then 40 guys that ask him questions. So then Byron Allen just goes in, you know, and he interviews you, but then he turns it into a show, like it's an interview show instead of a. So he goes, and then it's always like. It shows at 1 o'clock in the morning. He goes, tonight on the it's Byron Allen's voice. He goes, tonight on the entertainers, Jonas Hill, Harrison Ford, Eddie Murphy, George Harrison. It's like the biggest stars of all time.
So it's like a big talk show, but it's a junket.
And it's just him in like a small room, like with the guy with a poster behind him.
5 minutes
like
each,
2
right?
years ago that he did a movie. And then Byron at the start of the interview,
does
he
it
goes,
air?
hey man, it's like 1 o'clock in the morning. He goes, he always starts the interview the same place, be like Harrison Ford, who clearly has no idea who Byron is. So Byron goes, hey man, the last time we talked, man, you were doing that movie about the Russian guy. What's been going on with you, man? And so, like, you get in your head, maybe they have dinner together. And then so Harrison Ford, he goes, huh? But he doesn't want to look racist, you know? So he's like, oh, yeah, I remember. How have you been? He goes, pretty good, man, pretty good. So he's a master at it costs him nothing.
That's a really good practical joke.
Right. And Byron Allen is just one of 100 interviews he did that day.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
Jonah, you got started. If Wiki's right, you got started writing plays, and you went to New York to be an actor.
Yeah, I would write weird stuff in New York when I was like a freshman in college at New School University, and then I would perform them at this bar called Black and White, and then it kind of got popular.
One man plays, or
sometimes
one act
with
plays?
other people. Yeah, like one acts and
right.
stuff, and then like weird performance art.
And then
things.
somebody stumbles in and sees you, and
And they got kind of popular amongst students at my school and NYU and stuff. And then it got kind of like a following. It was pretty cool. I remember like a couple of times I'd be like at dinner somewhere and someone would recognize me from it. And I would be so psyched because like they had just heard about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're like, hey, you're the guy that does those weird plays and stuff. And I was like, yeah.
What would
Be
be
like, yes,
like-
I am, Mom.
What would be a play? Like, what was your favorite one that was like your signature?
Well, they would do this open mic night. This is how it got started. Was basically they would do this open mic night. It was the only place that would let us drink because I didn't have a fake ID. So that they would let me drink there, and I was 18 and looked like I was like 12, you know. So, so my friend Michael took me there because he lived right around the corner, and the guys who owned the bar were really cool. and on Sunday night they had an open mic like storytelling night. So it'd be all like hipster East Village like junkies that would be like doing heroin on the A train, like not calling my dad, you know, like really serious stuff.
You don't have to say the second line. Not calling my dad.
Yeah.
Oh, we kind of surmised that.
Yeah. But yeah, very literal, like storytelling, like long stories. And I was like, man, I should just write like a fake one.
Oh, yeah.
So I started writing fake ones that the people thought were serious, and then like my friends knew it was I was lying. So like there was this one, the first one I wrote, that was probably my favorite because it was the first time I'd ever performed. And so I wrote this one about my dad having an affair with his Native American secretary. And then how I learned about Native American culture through this new woman who was like my surrogate mom, and like
I want to read that.
it was so weird, and everyone was just silent. It was like so serious, like there were no jokes in it or
Did your
anything.
friends laugh?
My friends thought it was probably the funniest thing I've ever done because it was like no one knew I was joking, you know.
Is this poetry? Or,
it was more like story, like
important stuff.
yeah, like a 5-minute story. Like people would write like short story, reading their short stories or whatnot.
Like sometimes they'll do one-man play. Like, you know how people think their life's interesting? So I said one-man play. It was an hour and a half. So if I think of my life, like I couldn't cobble together an hour and a half of interesting.
No, it wasn't one of those things where I was like,
it was the
1968, Brooklyn.
No,
I'm sitting over there. The Bombers are doing great this season.
No, the funny thing is when they say they have a big dramatic moment in the one-act play, but it's just something that happened to everyone, you know. And then they're like, and that's when I found out my mother had breast cancer. And then it blacks out. You're like, what? Doesn't that happen to everyone in the world? It's supposed to be all dramatic.
We have a gentleman that. Never mind. No, we have a gentleman who does.
When I was on Saturday
Night,
Night,
we've got a guest, a one-act play guy that comes in. Used to come in a lot.
Right.
But one-act plays are great. Like when
if they're good,
they're good, like not one-man plays, one-act.
Well, no, this is a one-man show guy.
One-act plays.
Story.
One-act, one-man.
They're my favorite.
All right, we're gonna
great.
Let's break.
Have you ever done that in your acting career?
That's how I started. Then I started writing one-act plays.
Real one-act plays. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You guys know how I find this interesting?
No, we do. It's just there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 open mics right now.
And I just don't know if we're making the Universal people happy.
And let's make sure that we're plugging the movie. Get them to the Greek. Can we take a break? Come back.
And it opens today. Is that right?
June 4th.
And would you guys be up to taking some phone calls from our fine listeners?
Yeah.
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 All right. Cool. If you guys have any questions for Jonah or Nick or hell, Michael Macdonald. Who else is in here today?
Wasn't he
Norm.
Wasn't he a rock singer?
I was just. I know it's Norm. I know it's Norm.
The Doobie Brothers?
Right, but
we don't
my mind.
We don't need to hear your filth.
973-8300 if you want to call in. We'll be back in a minute. Dudley and Bob Show. All right, we might get a couple of calls in for Jonah if you want. Jonah Hill of Get Him to the Geek.
Get Him to the Greek.
Sorry, y'all cut me a break. I was just talking about the geeks in Superbad. Yeah, we were just talking about that. So
Get Him to the Greek.
973-8300. Get Him to the Greek.
June 4th.
And I told. Yeah, it's not out yet? Oh, it's June 4th.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was maybe showing this weekend. But Bob saw it last night.
Wait, am I in this movie?
No.
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
And Nick.
Do you know what it's about?
You're in the people versus Larry
because,
Flynn.
because I asked Jonas, he said it wasn't even out on the screen yet.
Nick, is it
June 4th.
Is it a sequel somewhat loosely?
I would say it's a spin-off, but it's pretty different. There's not.
I heard it was a sequel to Weird Science.
That's your source is incorrect.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know.
You should get a new
I just know what I
source.
hear on the street.
Just Saving Sarah Marshall.
Forgetting. You don't know the titles of any of the movies.
I loved you in Super Good too, by the way.
Yeah.
Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
It's good because I honestly can't remember your name.
That's all right. I'm Dave. That's okay. Just call me Dave. Everybody does. So
there's some recurring
but
characters
is
in
the
there.
rock star that has the same name? Or?
Yeah, he's playing the same guy.
Okay.
Yeah, Russell Brand's character Aldous Snow is the same guy as he was in Forgetting Sarah Marshall, and other than that, there's no
Right, but
there's
Jonah
no
in this
overlap.
movie is a junior record executive who's got an idea that he's trying to get across to his boss, and his boss accepts it, and then you've got the responsibility. It's like a road picture. You've got the responsibility of getting this rock star.
It's kind of like a
this
dirty,
has-been.
almost famous.
He's not
is
really a
good-
has-been, but he's he's had rough times.
I would say it's kind of like a mix between Almost Famous and Midnight Run.
Yeah.
Now, is it like,
You know, like it's like a road movie with one guy escorting, a normal guy escorting
Right.
a really crazy, messed up
And
guy.
Trainspotting.
A little bit of
And Trainspotting.
and The Last Detail, if you've ever seen
Detail,
that.
just look at it.
You know, we watched The Last Detail, like, I watched it, like, every day before we started Superbad. I thought that was, like, one of my main references for Superbad.
Yeah.
Because it's like three
Nicholson's
guys, like,
greatest
out
flick.
getting, like, hammered and, like,
I want
having a crazy
to
time.
ask you that when you're doing
Who
like
were you?
when you're,
Were you Randy Quaid?
I was Randy Quaid, obviously.
Yeah, man.
I watched Sid and Nancy before getting to the Greek. I'm not kidding. That was my
I watched my favorite year in Midnight Run and
I
Almost
just saw
Famous
my
a lot.
favorite year a
Those
few
were the
weeks ago. It
Oh,
was
my
good.
favorite year was so good. I was watching this hardcore
How do you know when you're
porn.
shooting a
What?
comedy like this that you got
Earlier.
it, that you're getting it right when you're filming it? I mean that
You hope and pray you're getting it right. You don't
because
really
you know there's not an audience there laughing. I always wondered you shoot several different takes in different ways. You
We
know,
shoot every tone possible
Right.
in each scene.
I'm getting that signal from the publicist that it's time to wrap up, that you guys have to go somewhere else.
Well, let's take a phone call before we leave, because that was rude, because we said we were going to.
The only phone call I have wants to ask Norm a question.
Okay, great. Well, I was just trying to be respectful.
No, you're very
call,
fine.
you
Listen,
know.
I'm a big fan.
Well,
it's
I
kind of crazy in here today. I wished I had about 1 million questions for you.
Oh, man. Well, no
I
worries.
wish I had questions for you.
Listen, I wish I knew the names of your films.
No. I said I have 1 million questions for you. I wish we had more time. Did I say I wish we had more questions?
I know what you meant.
It's okay. June 4th, get him to the Greek. Austin's the best town ever, and I'm not BSing. It is the coolest place on
I
earth.
love this city.
It's so cool.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you very much.
Well,
Are you
thanks so much for
staying,
having
Norm,
us.
or are you going?
I got a phone call.
Oh, you're staying for your phone call.
My
Thank you,
apologies that,
Great to meet
Thanks.
you.
Great meeting
Yeah.
you, man. Really.
thank you guys for having us.
No, well,
Yeah,
thanks
thanks
for
very much.
coming in, guys. Get them to the Greek starting June
Thank you.
4th.
Well, thanks.
Appreciate it.
John.
hey man,
Yeah,
much
I'll
success.
go
I
see
think
the
you do
movie,
really
man.
well.
Bye. Nick,
See you
thank
around.
you.
Of course, thank you for
Thanks.
Thank you guys
See
so
you in
much.
L.A., man.
Take care,
great,
everybody.
thank you.
Yeah, thank you
See
so
you, man.
much.
Thanks, Jonah. Bye.
Say
It's weird to say goodbye in the middle of a break, but
say goodbye
bye.
to Matt.
Yeah, definitely will.
See
Probably
you.
got to go do TV somewhere.
Yeah, normally they go to the TV stations.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, do the noon
You
shows.
want to take your call,
and the-
Norm?
Yeah, let's
Okay,
take
let's take your call. Let's go to the phones. There's no calls coming in.
What? We even lost my caller?
What? No, your call's here. What's your call? What's your question?
Hey, Norm,
What?
big fan.
Thanks.
You're talking about your TV shows. I heard the Norm show's coming out on DVD. I was just wondering if you did any commentaries or special features for that.
Yeah, it is coming out on TV. It's coming out on, what do you call it?
DVD.
Yeah,
Those
it's
are
coming, it is
small.
coming out on DVD.
They're like laser discs,
but I don't make any money.
smaller.
I don't make any
You don't?
money. But they said, we'll give you money to come and comment on it. So I went in a room and they played the shows and I just talked. But I was talking to this other guy and I found I wasn't watching the show at all. I was just talking.
I think it might actually be
So
worth
at
getting it
first,
just
at
for
first you're
that.
commenting, you're like, that's interesting. That guy was cast at the last second. And then you realize in your mind, you go, no one cares about any of this. So then I just started going, hey, look, a coffee cup. But there wasn't a coffee cup that you'd be watching, but there was a coffee cup in the studio.
Did you remember the episodes as you were commenting? Did you remember the shooting or anything behind them?
No, I just, no, I don't know.
No.
I don't remember much.
They pay
I
you.
just, what?
They pay you well for commenting?
Not much, no.
No.
But it was just a day's work of going and looking at myself.
And
Should
talking
we just
what?
steal the
Yeah.
DVDs, Norm?
What?
Should we just steal them then?
Yeah. No, well, listen. I'm not going to say straight out on the radio that you should commit a crime. You know
Want me to say it for you?
what? That you should.
That you
commit
should
a
go
crime?
steal them?
No, I wasn't thinking of that crime.
Oh, just any other crime?
Yeah. Listen, man. Are you into bank heists?
No.
Ah, shoot, man. I'm looking for a getaway guy. It's the easiest job in the bank house. In the bank heist.
The wheelman?
Ah, that guy, man, he's the easiest. He just sits in the car while we all have to go into a bank with guns. Guy's just sitting
Yeah,
in the
but
car.
he's the guy with the cop is always, tapping on the window going, hey, move it along. This is
Well,
no parking
that's
zone.
just in movies, man. That's just in movies. In real life, the guy's just parked in front of the ATM, and then you run out. There's gunfire going all around your head, and
All
then
you
you
gotta
can't
do
get
is
the
step
door
on it.
open. You come on, Frank. And he's like, I told you guys, I'm not good with guns. And you're like, gun it. Hit it.
Pedal to the metal.
Yeah, well, like he wouldn't know that. That's his one thing. Like, drive
You
fast.
swear you've never had an acid flashback?
No, I've never had it. No, I never took acid. That was just a joke. I never took LSD.
Took it one time.
What happened?
I was at a Paul McCartney concert in Dallas because Paul McCartney that says acid when you hear Paul McCartney music, songs like "Let 'Em In," and I was on a bus with the listeners, and this woman walked up to me. She goes, "Stick out your tongue," and I went like this, and she put this piece of paper on my tongue,
without knowing.
and I didn't know anything was going on, and then
did she tell you?
No, yeah, she right after she put it on my tongue.
Know you were going. You didn't think you were going insane.
You just took acid. And then later in the tunnel of Texas Stadium, there was a woman holding a box of Starbursts, and I also had a box of Starbursts, and something in my head told me that those must also be my Starbursts. So I went up to a strange woman and said, "Those are my Starbursts."
Wow.
Like a crazy person. And then it lasted till like 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah,
and wallpaper was running down, and I had to call my girlfriend.
I'll be honest with you, I did it one time.
Well, why'd you lie?
Well, because I don't want people to think I did LSD, but I did it one time, and so I laid down on my bed. I was just a young boy, and I looked up, and it was a hanging plant for some reason in my room.
No, there wasn't.
And in the plant came the face of Jesus, the countenance of our Lord and Savior, Jesus, the pale Nazarene, suddenly showed up in my hanging plant. So I was like, oh man, I was like, well, I'm on LSD. This must be like just a crazy trick of my eye, an optical, thing. And then I thought, wait a minute, what if it's just a coincidence that I'm on LSD and Jesus is showing up? That would be bad luck for me. You know what I mean? I get absolute proof he exists, and then I ignore it, thinking it was the
acid
effects of the acid. So then I'm in a quandary. I'm stuck in a quandary. I don't know if you guys have ever been stuck in a quandary. But
not while I'm on acid.
So, anyways, my quandary was it fixed itself because suddenly the face of Jesus morphed into the face of Trapper John M.D. You know that guy?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, oh, that's cool.
Which one, though? The one
Pernell
from
Roberts.
MASH?
Yeah,
Or-
Pernell
okay.
Roberts.
The after.
You must have seen it this morning.
I don't think you've ever seen MASH where they go, hey, Trapper John M.D.
That's true. That's true. You're right.
That's that must have freaked you out when our sports guy came in because he's got that white bearded
Oh, yeah,
look.
he looks like Trapper John M.D.
There's your flashback.
It's too weird when they have the character changes, like it's it's Wayne Rogers and it's another guy, and you're like, what? He looks different. Like I remember one time as a little kid on Bewitched, suddenly Darren looked all different, because it was a different actor.
That's right.
But I was just a little kid.
But they were
so I
both
was
named
like,
Dick.
So I was like, yeah.
York and Sargent.
So I was like Dick York and Dick Sargent. But as a child, you see, I didn't know anything about Dick York or Dick Sargent or
What'd you
Elizabeth
think?
Montgomery. I thought of Darren Stevens and his wife, Elizabeth Stevens or whatever her name was. Sam Stevens.
Samantha Stevens.
Yes.
So anyways, when I didn't know Dick York or Dick Sargent, all I knew was Darren Stevens. So when he suddenly changed appearance drastically,
Yeah.
I thought, what's that Endora up to this time?
Oh, boy.
She was in Citizen Kane.
Yes, she was.
Yeah, she was in Citizen Kane. She always played,
Endora.
What about when
And
you
Mrs.
get
Crab.
cast? It's tough when you get cast as an old bag.
Yeah.
And like when you're reading the script, or it even says old bag shows up. You're like, what's this mine? But like they had the show Jake and the Fat Man. So
Who was
William Conrad?
William
he
Conrad.
was
Bill
canon.
Conrad.
Yeah, Bill Conrad. Beautiful man, I hear.
great actor?
But he was canon. He was a big star, a big Quinn Martin star. And so he was not a man to be trifled with. So if you're writing a script for somebody to be with, and you go, I would like to, maybe a William Conrad vehicle might propel me. You might not want to write, you might not want to title it Jake and the Fat Man. And then send it to William Conrad, because William Conrad's like, what the? I'm pretty sure I'm not Jake. And if I'm Jake, I don't want to be in the show at all, because then it's really gross. But,
I love the way your mind
Norm
works.
Macdonald tonight at Cap City and tomorrow night. And
All
we'll
these
sell
observations and more.
467-2333. Thanks for being here, dude.
Thanks a lot. Listen, God bless in the name of the pale Nazarene. What? And hey, what about this, man? You know how you're.
It's like the Energizer Bunny.
Oh, I love it.
This lady told me this thing. I said, you know, if you're a Christian, you're kind of reviled nowadays in today's society. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You're looked at as a joke, kind of. Bill Maher makes fun of you. But let's say you're a lady and you believe in astrology, right? Then suddenly everything's fine. Nobody thinks you're an idiot.